Whether it breaks out this week or in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, makes no difference. But it should be that order of magnitude in terms of time. It's like, it's right here, right now.
Go time, yeah.
In this video, we've compiled the best moments from Raoul Pal's insightful interview on Deribit. Raoul Pal, a former hedge fund manager and co-founder of Real Vision, is renowned for his deep expertise in global macroeconomics, finance, and cryptocurrency. In this interview, he delves into the future of digital assets, market trends, and the evolving economic landscape. Whether you're an investor or simply curious about the financial world, Pal's predictions and perspectives offer invaluable guidance and a unique take on where the markets could be headed. Get ready for a thought-provoking journey through the mind of one of finance's leading thinkers. If you're looking to stay ahead in the world of finance and investments, subscribing to Financial Navigator is a smart move. Whether you're interested in understanding cryptocurrency trends, stock market strategies, or just want to gain deeper financial insights, our channel offers you expert analysis and easy-to-follow guidance. By subscribing, you'll ensure that you never miss out on timely updates, actionable tips, and valuable content designed to help you make informed decisions. Plus, as a new channel, your subscription directly supports us in growing and bringing even more high-quality videos to the community. So hit that subscribe button and start navigating your financial future with confidence.
I mean, everyone's just so frustrated with this sloppy price action.
Yeah.
Right? Equities at all-time highs. The macro's good. China's stimulating. Everything is in place. You know, the pattern matching versus exactly what happened last year. Everything's in place, and the market cannot get out of its own way.
So what gives?
I don't know. And I was, talking to somebody today who we won't talk about naming, but the same questions like, what is going on? Is somebody selling? Is there a flow that we don't know about?
This is what we've been
we've discussed that for a few weeks now. I mean, there's clearly been this supply overhang, right? With, you've had from the US government, the German government selling empty GOCs, a lot of talk in the past week with the China thing, that, Chinese retail selling out their Bitcoin, and because now they've got another high vol asset to play in their own stock markets. So maybe we're just digesting this supply overhang. It's definitely, I've compared it to like the FX markets when I used to trade in those, where you kind of feel you've lined everything up correctly from a macro, and yet, and then you find out a few weeks later that there was some like
M&A or something.
Yeah, and you go, oh fuck, that's why we weren't trading. So it does feel like maybe there's a flow.
But if it's something like that, then this is like a golden opportunity, because the election, there was also the argument that someone made who we got in the studio the other week was like, do you want to take the career risk of owning it before the election, and then there's like a 20-30% move for some reason? Like, wouldn't you wait until you get the all clear?
You see the weird thing of Microstrategy's decoupling from Bitcoin, which is equity flow versus crypto flow, which adds to this, there's something else going on. And then, looking, because I've got an asset management firm that invests in crypto hedge funds, and speaking to everybody, there are no flows because everyone's waiting for the range to break. So there's all the family offices like, well, we just want to wait for things to start being confirmed. And it's the election, we want to see what happens with the election. It's basically everybody's waiting for everybody else. And we don't really have a catalyst. I mean, all the catalysts are in place. Liquidity, financial conditions, historical pattern matching, technical analysis, everything from, if you look at Bollinger Bands of, volatility, all of these things have always led to a big breakout. So you've kind of got every box ticked. I mean, everything. And, China have started to do the whole global stimulus game, and that will spread to everybody. Yes, at the end of the quarter, the Fed saw a draw of liquidity because of the bank funding stuff, but that goes away. So I don't know.
The only thing
for me, it's just a matter of time. It's just.
But the way I see it, one of the big things that's changed from previous crypto cycles is we've got these ETFs that have brought in a bit of a different player, right, in terms of the investment in crypto. So is there something going on with we had this big re-rating in the first quarter because of the ETFs and the institutional adoption that everyone was expecting. And obviously there was quite a lot that was bought, right, in all those big new ETFs. That is now made this market kind of a little bit different to previous cycles, maybe?
I think if you go down the list, it's really interesting. When you see the list of the biggest holders of the ETFs, yeah, there's some RAA firms and whatever. Most of it is the converter ARB guys.
Yeah.
It's all of them are the ARB guys. So they're either ARBing using the ETF because they can get prime broking on it, which you can't get on Bitcoin very easily. So they use it for prime broking, and then they're ARBing the futures or the perps.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no actual real new money that's come in yet then?
Yeah, there is some. You can go down the list, but when you look at it, it's all Millennium. It's all the same players, and they're just extracting cash from the cash and carry.
But then the guys that we were all thinking were going to come in and allocate into the space who haven't already, does that mean they're still to come then?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, again, the regulatory issues. I mean, every week there's somebody else being prosecuted. Then you've got the kind of Trump on one side, the Harris administration not making it clear what they're going to do, and the SEC being hostile. So that keeps people back from actually really allocating. It's like, okay, we need election clarity now. It's if the liquidity picture doesn't match what we're all expecting. You know, the general thesis that I brought about was the fact that we need to refi the debts, and that liquidity has been cyclical and it's been measurable, and we've got a huge amount of debt coming. Yes, GDP growth is decent right now, so that does pay for a lot of those interest payments, but interest payments are very high. So for some reason, not only the US doesn't provide liquidity, because if you go back to the 16-17 bull run, the US had raised rates once, went on pause, didn't do anything with liquidity. The Chinese did it all, and then the UK because of Brexit. And so it'd have to be all of them not doing anything. But the Chinese have already made it clear they're going to have to do something. So that's the difficulty I see is I don't see how nobody's going to do it. Because inflation's imploding in Europe right now. It's just the Europeans are going to keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I can see is for some reason that whole liquidity story, the cyclicality doesn't work. But it's been working perfectly since the bottom in 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, when I look at the patterns and stuff with GMI, it's like I'm complaining because it didn't match last week versus, you know, really with a bit of wiggling around because of flows or whatever, whether it breaks out this week or in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, makes no difference. But it should be that order of magnitude in terms of time. It's like, it's right here, right now.
Go time, yeah.
And is it a case of the dominance that we've seen in Bitcoin? I mean, is that still at the highs? I think it is, given where ETH is, right? Do you expect the first leg to be led by Bitcoin because of the election and stuff, or not?
No, I think everyone's looking for the confirmation of Bitcoin, and then everybody's going to get out the risk curve.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because look, if we've got the banana zone,
everything's going to rip.
Everyone knows what the game is.
You want the beta.
Yeah, everybody's going to want the beta. And, you know,
so where do we get
already
the beta?
Seeing it. You can barely keep memes underwater.
Well, memes are going,
and
but memes are going.
Stuff like SUI, you just can't keep these things down.
Yeah.
So you can see that the market's kind of getting ready to do all this stuff. And the moment Bitcoin breaks 70,000, I mean, God, these memes are going to go bananas.
ETH's been a dog, though, right? Like, ETH has really suffered. I mean, Solana's looked better than ETH by a long way. Are you still, because you've historically been a fan of ETH, are you still a big fan of ETH?
I mean, look, I love ETH. It's great. My only ETH exposure is NFTs. So I've got a lot of high-end NFTs, which are only on ETH. Other than that, I'm a mercenary otherwise. It's like, you know, what's going to outperform? I've been Solana, and then I've been switching towards SUI, even though I'm on the foundation. So I've been granted tokens, but I've actually been buying in the open market because the chart versus every cross rate versus Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and choose your token, and it's about performing. So I'm like, okay, this is the signal that this may be the next chosen one. ETH, I've been thinking through what happened with ETH. So the layer 2s obviously took away from the layer 1. Okay, fine. But what I'm thinking is really being built is something that scales much larger by having the layer 2s, and then they're going to go to this ZK roll-ups, whatever it's going to be. But they have a roadmap, and I think basically they've overbuilt infrastructure for where we are right now. And that's what it is. While Solana and Sui and other stuff are seeing the pickup in activity, ETH has basically built out enormous amount of block space. And as the market grows, I think, ETH, because it's security and all of the other stuff, will attract more flows. But it's probably going to underperform this cycle. Underperforms Solana, but I still think it outperforms Bitcoin. I look at that cross a lot. That cross perfectly works with the ISM. So as the business cycle picks up, that's alt season. Now, why is that? It's pretty simple, because everyone has a bit more money.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the ISM picks up, still below 40, below 50. So it actually says a big part of the economy is still slow, and another part is racing ahead. So that means that corporate earnings are still slow. That means people's paychecks are slow. That means the bloke who owns the sandwich shop down the road, earnings are still a bit slow. All of that stuff. When it starts picking up, that compounding effect of the business cycle means more disposable income, means more investing, and then people go out the risk curve. So we still haven't got to that point. So we're still, and that's another reason maybe this whole breakout from the banana zone hasn't happened, is it really happens when the RSM crosses 50 to the upside. That's like a big signal.
One thing I'd question on the whole Bitcoin, leading or not question is, if Trump does get in, and we've heard about this talk about a Bitcoin strategic reserve, right? Like, do other central banks start putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? Does it actually become a strategic reserve for other countries because the US endorses it?
Why does the US need a strategic reserve when it's the world's reserve currency? It's nonsense. It's just Trump making Trump sounds. There is no reason. You are the world's reserve currency. The US doesn't even talk about its gold holdings. It's a legacy thing.
But you've got trillions and trillions of debt. And is that not a way of basically saying, don't abandon the dollar, because we've got reserves in gold and we've got reserves in Bitcoin?
The world is so indebted dollars that dollars always in short supply.
Yeah.
So anytime the world slows down, the dollar goes up. Anytime, it's just, there is a desperate need for dollars. I mean, what happened to China? They needed dollars. What the US did was agree via Japan intervening in the currency to inject dollars back into the Chinese system.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they need to do anything. And the argument, look at the size of the debt. No shit, Sherlock. We know what they're doing. They're debasing the currency to pay for the debt.
Yeah.
That's the privilege of having the world's reserve currency. You could force an 8% annual purchasing power depreciation via debasement, which is basically, I think of it as a put option on implosion. So I don't know what you'd pay for the option, a put option on, let's say, equity markets falling 50% plus and most markets falling apart. That's what, if you get the big reset, the big, thing. Okay, that's what happens. Well, what we're doing instead is we're basically paying them to take away that downside or an 8%.
By debasing money.
Yeah, it's an option cost.
Yeah, it's quite an expensive one as well, right?
It is, but, I'd rather pay 8% than I would to see markets down 80.
And it's 8% that you don't actually see yourself paying.
No.
You see it as an asset inflation, basically, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your future self gets poorer because you can afford less with your income. I was thinking about this, actually. When I first bought my first flat in London, I think it was like £265,000 back in like 92. And I was thinking my salary was probably 70, 75. So that wasn't
5x.
5, or maybe my salary was 80 or 90, whatever. It's about 3.5, 4x.
Yeah.
That same flat is probably 1.5, 2 million.
Wow. And
I don't know, two-bedroom flat in Bayswater on a nice square. It's probably not far off that. And I don't know what the average kind of 20-something investment banker earns as they're starting their career now, probably 200. So it's gone 10x.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this compilation of insights from Raoul Pal, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content on finance, investing, and the future of digital assets. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update, and feel free to leave a comment below with your thoughts or any topics you'd like to see covered next. Stay tuned for more expert interviews and deep dives into the financial world. See you in the next video.